Whew. Wow, well, that was the most frustrating, really good, just every sort of game that you could ever put into a sentence. That was just insane. St Kilda 73 versus GWS 73, which I didn't think I'd be doing a review this positive, I suppose. I'm just in the car park at Etihad now, and it's almost bittersweet because you kind of wanted them to get the point at the end and get Gresham to kick that goal at the end to get us the win. And Carlisle, the mark, I mean, I don't know if you guys saw it, but was that chopping the arms? It looked like it was chopping the arms, but they didn't give it. But far out, the fight from the team in this game was exactly what we've been looking for. Everything that we've been wanting from the guys, every single thing in terms of execution and effort and just desire and ability to get to the ball first and make something happen out of nothing. They fucking did it. Like, they did it against a very good team, albeit a team that kicked 9 goals, 19 and continually butchered the ball in front of goal. But so many times when they got a run on, we thought, okay, they're 18 points up in the last quarter. That we thought they'd get away and they would just run away with the game, and that wasn't the case. They stuck fat and just kept fighting. Like, the support in the ground was 15,000, I think, roughly 15,000 people, and just one sec, people are distracting me walking past. It was like 15,000 people, and it sounded like 40,000 when we were pushing forward to get that winning goal. When Gresham had that snap, like, I was off my tits just thinking, Jesus, if we can imagine if he had to kick that, the roof would have gone off. Like, I wasn't expecting us to be as switched on as we were, to be honest. I felt like the first half, similar to Adelaide, we were decent, we kind of were competitive, we missed some easy chances, and that eventually GWS would just take over with their skill and with their talent, but that wasn't the case. We just kept coming, we just kept fighting. Where we were robbed at the end. Where or were we robbed at the end is the question. Well, I don't know. I mean, I thought Carlisle had the mark and that Phil Davis was late and he chopped his arms. There was 2 seconds on the clock there, and I only knew that because I had Fox Footy up on my phone just so I could see how long was left, because it was that intense that I needed to know when the siren was going to go and to see if we had any chance of winning. So I had Fox Footy on my phone, just on my lap, checking, okay, we've got 2 minutes to go when McCartan kicks that goal. We've got 1:40, we've got this, we've got that, just so I know what to expect when we're pushing forward. And when we're pushing forward, I saw it was like 10, 9, 8. We kick it to Carlisle. There's like 2 seconds left, and Phil Davis came over the back and spoiled. And I feel like no umpire is going to decide a game in the last 2 seconds and pin Phil Davis there. They're always going to let it run, and then eventually the siren went, and that was it. But far out, like, it's bittersweet, but I wasn't coming here expecting to be this positive, to be honest. Like, I was expecting us to be better, but not to be that competitive for that long, and we were. We were very competitive for every second of that game. There wasn't a period where we thought, wow, we're off, and GWS are just going to take control. Thoughts on Ben Long's game? Ben Long was... that goal was just fucking amazing. Like, to have that much confidence, to take someone on, I think it was Phil Davis maybe on the mark, someone slow, and he knew he could back himself. He knew he could kick the goal, and it was amazing. And it felt like there was some shackles off the players, like a lot of the players. Stephen was going for more runs. Hunter Clark was great. Caulfield looks like he's played 200 games. He was sensational. McCartan kicked 3. Better delivery in the forward line does that for you. The only one that was quiet was probably Membry, but he's been out for a few weeks, bit injury prone, and that's fine. But I thought collectively we were very good. I thought Brown did a fucking amazing job. Sorry for all the swearing, but I'm actually pretty happy about this result, if you hadn't have guessed. But Brown did an amazing job on Jonathan Patton. He's been taking all the beasts all year. He kept Tom Hawkins to maybe 1 goal or goalless last week. John Patton, I think, 1 goal this week. Cameron was really their only outlet. Toby Green was well held. I think Geary was on him for a little bit, and Gilbert did a bit of an interesting job on Cameron. But Hickey, I think, I haven't mentioned him yet, but Tom Hickey, fantastic ruck work. His tap work was great. His around the ground winning the ball in the contest. You know, when a player needed a quick handball out, he got it, and he got our outside runners going. And he was phenomenal. I think he got nearly 100 Supercoach points, had like 20 disposals, and was fantastic. Seb Ross was better. Jack Nunes, unfortunately, didn't play out the game. He was on the bench pretty much after quarter time. I'm trying to go through some of the players here, but Ben Long was fantastic. Caulfield, I mean, I was impressed. Thoughts on Billings? I thought Billings, he's still petering on the edge of he needs a big game and he'll be fully confident. But I mean, that goal, that snap was all class from him. He's just his set shots. You got to take them. You're a bit like a Bontempelli. We liken him to a Bont and all these big time players that will step up in the key moments. I mean, he did, and he took a lot on. I mean, he always goes for those shots. He just hasn't kicked them yet. But the fact that he's taking responsibility and saying, "Hey guys, I'm going to go for the shots," that says a lot about him already. He's only 22, so I feel like he'll gradually build his confidence. He'll hopefully have a big game next week against the Hawks. Gresham still a bit quiet, but Sinclair was fantastic. Akers was very good. Carlisle was a bit off in the back half, dropped a few simple marks, but then we threw him forward. And I like that from Richo. He only threw him forward when he wanted to freaking win the game. He didn't throw him forward like he did against North and Adelaide when we were 40 points down. The game was done. It was just a last hurrah. This was, we need to effing win this game. We want to get our tallest bloke and our best mark there, and he did that. And I credit to Richo. I think he did a lot for the team. I mean, the first 5 minutes we knew that we were switched on, and that's what we can tell when we see pressure and tackling is that, yep, they're switched on today, 100%. You know, it was just a matter of whether we could keep it for 4 quarters, and we did. And we almost freaking stole a win against the #1 team in the AFL right now. Like, that's what Richo needs to tell them, that's exactly how we need to play every week. If we go there to Launceston next week and play like that against Hawthorn, we're in the game. We were competitive. We were more than competitive. And it was just exciting to say, go! And I thought, I mean, this is sidetracked, but Mav Weller, fantastic. He had like 24 disposals, kicked a great goal. He's running, and I love he's got that burst of pace when he gets it, and he's not afraid to take the game on. And that's what I noticed from us today, is we weren't afraid to take the game on. Ben Long, Hunter Clark, Caulfield, Jack Stephen had about 1 million running bounces. Like, it was just fantastic. Geary, still with his disposal, kind of bombed it every now and then, but I thought we lowered the eyes way more this week, more so than other weeks. We just didn't rush. We bombed it a few times. We only bombed it when we saw it was a 1v1. It wasn't a 1v4. It wasn't Paddy versus 4 GWS, and it was just a kick in hope. We actually assessed the options and said, okay, he can either get the mark or he brings it to ground and our key runners can take it around, which was great. But then when we did bomb it, I mean, we were at least competitive. We brought it to ground, and Paddy, #1 thing from him I noticed was he just brought everything to ground, and he's great when it hits the deck. Like, people don't notice that, but when you're at the ground, you see it hits the deck, and he gets the quick hands out. Hickey was the same. I'm just going to go through some of your comments. Does Marshall come back in if he's fit? For whom? That's a very good question. Hickey's definitely going to be #1 ruck. Whether we need Marshall there, I don't know. But from this week, I can't actually see who would be dropped. But the good thing is, I mean, it's not a good thing because he's injured, but Jack Nunes could potentially miss a week, so Marshall probably would come in for him and just kind of pinch hit in the ruck. And obviously we're missing Bruce in a tall, so you'd have a McCartan, Membry, and then obviously a Marshall sort of forward line. But that's next week's problem. It depends on how we want to play against the Hawks. Let's go through some more questions. Mr. Murray West is watching. Puts the pressure on goal kicking and inside 50. Delivery is horrible. It ruins our season. No Marshall doesn't come back in. Hickey keeps his spot 100%. Is Gilbert's time up? I mean, we don't want to get too negative with this video because it was a very positive performance, but there are players in Sandringham that can play the Gilbo role. He's just got that. He's a player that's played over 200 games, I think. So he's got that sort of I guess, experience under his belt. When Geary's not in the back line, he's pushing up. We need someone there that can talk to a Brandon White, who I thought was fantastic. Again, his composure, he beat his man, and he's a good kick. So Jimmy Webster's going to find it very hard to get back into the team. Armo, I don't know when Sandy play again and if he's playing, but it'll be interesting to see if he can back up last week's performance. He had like 40 possessions. But it is Sandringham, and we see so many players do well at Sandy, like a Jack Loney, and then come into the first and not live up to it. But you don't want to make too many changes after this performance. You want to say, guys, you did a great job. I want to back you in against Hawthorn. You proved to me that you can play at a very high standard for the entire game, and I'm going to reward you with another week. We can't keep chopping and changing a team. This is as balanced, I think, as Richo has gotten it this season. Obviously, having Bruce out and a few other key players out like Webster and like a Robertson, it doesn't help, but man, it looks like we've got some depth. Like, Caulfield's come in and he looks so composed on the ball, like he's played for 10 seasons. It doesn't look like it's his third game or fourth game. Hunter Clark was better. He got caught a few times, but that wasn't his fault. It was just some silly hospital handballs that got him into danger. Thoughts on the final contest with Carlisle? I don't think I've said this earlier in the video, Joel, but I'll say it again. I don't think umpires are ever. I thought it was a free kick when I saw it, and when I see the replay, I'm sure I'm going to see that he chopped the arms and he was late to the ball, and it was all Carlisle, and they were paying them all day up the other end and to McCartan. But they'll never decide a game on a free kick. I don't think they knew that there was that long left, but they obviously knew that, you know, the next score wins. And obviously, having a free kick, Carlisle's either going to kick a point or a goal unless he absolutely shanks it and kicks it on the full, which would be freaking terrible. You know, kicking it on the full after the siren or on the siren when you need a point to win is not a way to end the game. But I just don't think the umpires would want to. I mean, they decide the game pretty much anyway, but when it's that critical of a decision, they're never going to make it. Gilbert playing is only setting back the blokes who's going to replace him, probably. I mean, there's Bailey Rice, who's doing a fantastic job in that halfback role. He's a great kid, great mark, good engine. So he's the next one that everyone has been urging Richard to bring in, but he hasn't. So I think who replaces Gilbert, Rice is probably a player I would go with. Dean, just looked tight in the mark attempt. Let's go through some of these. I don't want to ignore all you guys. Don't think Bruce is really missed. No. I don't think so either. I think Hickey's kind of made up for that. Hickey's around the ground game was as good as I've seen from him in a long time, and it looks like whatever they've done with him at Sandy and the fact that Richo has said, look, you're not good enough at the moment, we're playing Longer and Marshall, you need to work on your game. It looks like he's taken that on board, and he's definitely taking his game more seriously, and he killed, I mean, I think it was Simpson, who used to play for Geelong. He killed Simpson in the around the ground game. I think he lost hit outs, but it looked like in the centre that, I don't know if we won clearances or not, that Ross and that Dunstan, particularly Dunstan, his goal was amazing, by the way. Haven't mentioned him yet, but Dunstan and Ross's inside game was so strong today that it didn't matter if we lost the hit outs. They competed, and then we'd have a ball up, and then you'd restart from there. Hugh Goddard is not an option for Gilbert. Hugh Goddard, he's probably not the rebounding type. I haven't watched much of him, to be honest. But he's another name. And it looks like we've got a good string of depth in Sandringham. I think that's the main thing we've seen is when we've brought players in, they've been doing well. Ben Long, Hunter Clark, Caulfield, Brandon White. You know, Richo's picking, and this is what we recruited him for. He's good at seeing the potential and kind of nurturing it, I guess, and then making it AFL ready. So when we, you know, talk about Paddy and we talk about some of our youngsters coming through, Richo is a guy that will hopefully bring the best out of them, and if we can have more Caulfields on the ground, I mean, I'll take it. I'll quickly answer some few questions, but I'm just going to head off because I've got some dinner to attend to. Thoughts on Ben Long's last few games? He's that X factor that we've missed for years. If he played in 2009, we were in those grand finals, we needed that X factor to win them. I mean, that goal says everything. I don't know how old he is. What is he, 18, 19, 20? And he, in a clutch moment, took a player on, and knowing that GWS, they're the best team in the league, and just said, I'm going to kick this goal, I don't care who you are. I think I wouldn't want to go too far in saying that I think that goal lifted the team. You know, we're in this. You know, he took him on. Let's take him on. And we did. And we saw what happened. We nearly pinched it. Robertson to replace Gilbert forever. Nunes out. Should move Billings to the wing. Billings to the wing would be a good move. He's a good kick inside 50. Long's first and last quarter was great. 100% agree with you. Thoughts on Billings? I said this before. He's petering on the edge. He's having some good moments. He's having some average moments. But I think sooner rather than later, he'll have one game where we're just saying, you know, he'll have a 30 and kick 4 sort of game. Hopefully it's next week. And we'll say, look, that's what he's capable of. But the good thing is there's still more upside to this team, but we did so well today. but there's still more to improve on, which is good. And we were competitive, and that's what we wanted today. And hopefully in the next home game against Melbourne, we get a bigger crowd, and it's not like 20,000, and we can take it to them, because they haven't been that great themselves. And obviously next week I'm going to be flying to Tassie. Well, I won't call it yet. I've still got to book flights, but I want to go to Tassie, and then I'll obviously do my review there and chat to you guys there. So I'll leave it there, guys. I'm going to answer some questions offline, so I'll let you continue to keep commenting. But it was Saints 73, GWS 73 at Etihad, round 5. We're one draw and 3 losses. I don't know where that puts us on the ladder, but I'm just going to say it. I was fucking happy with the effort. That's best on ground. Jeez, that's a tough call. I think, that's a very tough call. I'm going to go with probably Dunstan. I can't name one. I think we just all played really well. Dunstan and Hickey were fantastic. Jack Stephen was huge again too. But yeah, they were all fantastic. And let's go into next week with full of confidence. Be positive on this page. It's good to not talk shit this week. But hopefully in the lead up to next week, we'll see what Richo's up to, and if we have any changes, if anyone comes in, maybe a Marshall, but we'll wait and see. Anyway, guys, thanks very much for watching, and I'll see you guys later.